Sharks caught on camera. One day some researchers had cameras deep below the ocean surface. That's when they see a massive monster shark pass by.
This guy's got a meter-wide head.
Look how thick he is.
He's huge.
They tried to measure the shark using the red laser dots. It is smaller than 60 feet, which is what megalodon were. But sharks this big should not be swimming this low down. One night, some fishermen were looking out to the sea. They saw a whale splashing around. That's when a gigantic shark lifts the whale out of the water. Sharks are never normally this big or powerful. Megalodons were known to hunt for whales, which is why many say this may be a real-life megalodon sighting. One day a man was kayaking while his friend filmed him from their boat. That's when all of a sudden the man sees a gigantic megalodon shark heading for his friend's kayak. The kayak was 14 feet, so we can estimate the shark was around 40 feet.
Slowly eaten alive by bed bugs.
LaShawn Thomas was sent to prison, but the conditions in that prison were so bad that he was found deceased with over 1,000 bed bug bites. Now I won't show you any photos of those bed bugs, but here are some pictures of what his jail cell looked like. His family came out saying that he had actually only been in prison for 3 months and the conditions were just deplorable. When LaShawn passed away, the medical examiner actually wrote the reason for his passing as unknown. But Colin, upon hearing this case, decided to give LaShawn's family money so they could conduct an independent autopsy. The results of that one are still pending. My name's Harz and I tell Stevenson crime stories. If you want to hear more, remember to follow.
Benjamin Franklin was a serial killer. Check this out. So in 1757 to 1777, he had lived in London and decided to move to America. So in 1998, a group called the Friends of Benjamin Franklin's House decided to convert Franklin's London home that he lived from 1957 to 1977 into a museum. Hold on one second. But when they started renovating the house, they noticed something disturbing. Before I continue, can you press that heart button for me? It would mean the world. They found a huge pit full of bodies. I'm talking 1,200 human bones. They were all in his basement, in a 1-by-1 windowless room. The bones belonged to at least 15 people, 6 of those being children. And they were buried there for well over 200 years. Now, some people believe they were just bodies donated to him for research, but others believe something much darker. Ooh, look at that thing right there. So what do you think? Was Benjamin Franklin really a serial killer?
Here are 3 horror movies you need to watch in theaters this month. First is Insidious: The Red Door on the 7th. This is the 5th installment of the series. It takes place 10 years after Chapter 2 with Dalton starting college, but soon the past comes back to haunt the Lambert family. Next is Cobweb on the 21st. It's about a young boy who constantly hears noises coming from inside his bedroom wall. His parents tell him that it's just his imagination, but he begins to realize that they're hiding secrets. Last is Talk to Me on the 28th. This is a new A24 film about a group of friends who realize they can use an embalmed hand to conjure spirits. But one of them goes too far and opens the door to the spirit world and supernatural force.
Let's talk about the terrifying ending of the horror game Lily's Well. Full game playthrough right here. And of course, spoilers ahead, so be warned. You play as a girl named Lily who hears a voice coming from the well outside of her home. And after dying many times from some failed attempts, I finally made it down to the bottom of the well. And what I found shook me. At the bottom of this well was a bunch of dead bodies. Dead bodies that kind of looked like you. Like a bunch of dead lilies. You find a secret scientific facility that also exists at the bottom of the well. And there, you find the truth. Your father has been cloning you, letting you die, and continuing that cycle in order to create the perfect daughter. And once he finds you, he starts the cycle again once more. Eventually, through more death, you find a phone number that your father never wanted you to discover. The phone number of the first Lily, all grown up. The both of you have a cathartic meeting and you set fire to your father's sick and twisted creation.
When this man experienced a break-in, he killed the intruder and then lived with his mummified corpse. Bruce Roberts lived in Sydney and he was known for being a hoarder. However, no one could have guessed one incredibly disturbing possession he was keeping at his home. Neighbours described Bruce as reclusive. His home was so full of junk that you could not see through the windows. When locals in 2017 hadn't heard from Bruce for a while, they called police to do a welfare check. When police managed to enter the house, they found Bruce deceased inside. However, it would be another year before they realised there was actually another body in the property. Police would have probably found this body if this was a normal house, but this wasn't a normal house. It was actually when cleaners were brought in to prep Bruce's house for sale that they found the other body. This was the body of 39-year-old Shane Snellman. Now, Shane had apparently been released from prison in 2002 and had gone to Bruce's house to rob it for money for drugs. A coroner found that Bruce had shot the intruder, covered his body with a rug, and then kept it in his spare bedroom for 15 years. He ended up using 70 bottles of...
He's one of the most evil men in American history, Jim Jones. Tonight we are live investigating from the church where Jim Jones attended through much of his childhood and his teenage years. Now the church is located in Lynn, Indiana. Don't know who Jim Jones is. Many people refer to Don't Drink the Kool-Aid when talking about Jim Jones because he actually took himself and his congregation down to South America, and after things got hairy with him taking out a U.S. representative, he convinced his entire congregation to drink a cyanide Flavor Aid concoction. Now, what's interesting with the story is not everyone that was a part of the deaths that day actually decided to drink the cyanide Flavor Aid. Some people were actually injected, so that's taking things from an unaliving to a murder. Now, we're going to be going inside of this church because they've had many reports of paranormal activity, so we're going to see if we can make contact with anything inside of this church tonight, or maybe even if Jim Jones himself comes through. Make sure you guys tap into the live. Make sure you go ahead and give me a follow. And if you missed the live stream, make sure you go over to my YouTube, Kalani Ghost Hunter, for more paranormal content.
This might be one of the scariest videos found on the dark web.
Don't believe what you see. Don't believe what you see.
A shop owner set up cameras in their store after finding their store often messed up in the morning. It seemed weird that nothing was ever taken, but their product was all over the place. This is what they discovered. I don't know what that creature is, but their store is haunted.
Normal videos with dark backstories. Part 1. This video shows a man playing Dance Dance Revolution being recorded by a group of people making fun of him. 6 months later, the man Adam Lanza would murder his mother while she was asleep, then drive to Sandy Hook Elementary where he would murder 6 adults and 20 children. This video shows 71-year-old Tamara Samsonova carrying a cooking pot downstairs. The video may seem innocent at first glance, but that is until you realize that inside of the pot is the head of her best friend, who beforehand was brutally murdered by Tamara. What's worse is that she murdered 11 other people and earned herself the nickname, the Granny Ripper. This video shows a babe in Thailand. Moments after the video was taken, the lead singer would set off a firework which caused the entire venue to burn down, killing 66 people. What's ironic is that the name of the band is literally Burn.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. The reason your dog likes squeaky toys so much is because the squeak reminds them of small animals dying. Every day, one person takes the biggest shit in the world and they have no idea it was them. The entire universe outside of our galaxy could have disappeared over 20,000 years ago. This is because our view of the universe is what it looked like thousands to billions of years ago. Some tumors can contain pockets of hair and teeth and grow complex organs such as eyes, feet, and hands. There are at least 92 nuclear weapons in the world that are known to be missing. Brain aneurysms can happen whenever, wherever. Polar bears are thought to be some of the only animals that actively hunt humans. Dolphins sometimes bite off the head of a fish and masturbate into the decapitated body. A bubble caused by false vacuum decay could be growing through our universe right now, destroying everything it touches, and we would have no idea because it travels at the speed of light. Despite if you're using incognito mode, Wi-Fi routers actually keep logs of what websites you visit.
Light out. Everybody. It is there.
Scariest things found by TikTokers.
On September 11th, 2021, TikTok fisherman Source90 captures the moment that he could hear strange sounds coming from the ocean. Keep in mind that this was recorded miles away from shore. Listen carefully.
Source90, and we just out here. We're chilling. We're out here I hear him. What the fuck is that noise, bro? What is that noise? Where are you? That's crazy.
Let me know what you think that.
This is how a boy mysteriously vanished under the street. Hi guys, we are in Edinburgh's Old Town to tell you that most tourists pass down the Royal Mile every day and have absolutely no idea about the network of tunnels below. And among these many tunnels is said to be one that connects Edinburgh Castle all the way to Holyrood Palace. It was allegedly used by royals in times of strife as a safe passageway through the city. But at some point, the tunnel fell out of use and it was forgotten about, and it became a legend. That is until the 19th century when one night, a garrison of bored soldiers were guarding the castle and decided to go looking. Through a gap in the castle wall, they discovered a set of stairs leading to darkness. So they sent a young piper boy down alone, and they told him to walk through the tunnel and play his bagpipe so they could hear him from the street and follow him to the tunnel's exit. And sure enough, they heard the boy's muffled bagpipes from the street above. As the song continued further down the Royal Mile, they grew excited and started to dance and celebrate until suddenly the music stopped. Thinking he must have turned back, they ran back to the castle, but the boy was nowhere to be seen. They went into the tunnel themselves and found it came to a dead end. There was no trace of the boy anywhere, and he was never to be seen again. Now, we obviously don't know if the story's true, but residents say that at night, when all the tourists and the cars are gone and it's dead quiet, you can hear the muffled sound of the bagpiper boy's song.
3 famous songs with terrifying backstories. Snoop Dogg's brother-in-law, Jermaine Fuller, was the singer of Peanut Butter Jelly Time. He died after an 11-hour standoff with police despite Snoop begging him to surrender. 15-year-old Jeremy Dell shot himself in the head in front of an entire class of 30 kids. His classmates felt extremely guilty for not befriending him, and his death inspired the song Jeremy by Pearl Jam. Doc Pomus of the Drifters wrote "Save the Last Dance for Me" because he was in a wheelchair due to polio and wasn't able to dance with his wife. At the wedding, he watched his friends dance with her.
People who mocked God and got what they deserved. I am in space and I see no God. I am God.
I don't need a lot. Coffee's only a dime. Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
According to historical accounts, the pendulum was an alleged instrument of torture and execution used by the Spanish Inquisition in the 18th century. A swinging pendulum with a knife blade on its edge was slowly lowered towards a bound prisoner until it cut into their body. However, many experts are skeptical that this method of torture was ever actually used. The victim would be forced to watch as the blade slowly descended towards them, creating a sense of impending doom and fear. The only evidence of the pendulum's use comes from Lorent's book, which includes a second-hand account from a single prisoner who was released from the Inquisition's Madrid dungeon in 1820. This prisoner purportedly described the pendulum torture method. Edgar Allan Poe's popular horror tale, The Pit and the Pendulum, published in 1842, included the use of the pendulum. The use of the pendulum was also shown in the 2008 movie Saw 5.
This creepy melting face only appears in the rain. Hello. We were on a walk in Edinburgh's historic Old Calton Cemetery when we found something truly disturbing. This is the grave of David Allen. He was a famous 18th century painter who lived, worked, and died in Edinburgh. And he was buried in this cemetery, which looks straight out of a Hammer horror film. Just look at the size of these mausoleums. I know this is what I'm paid for, but I'm not going to go in there. Old Calton has an astonishing amount of macabre memento mori artwork meant to remind us about the inevitability of death, in case you needed reminding. And when we walked around the back of David Allen's tombstone, we saw something so creepy. The rain had somehow formed this horrible face on the back of his headstone, and we thought it's just a strange phenomenon. But what we found out later genuinely gave us chills. It turns out that this same exact face appears on David Allen's headstone every single time it rains. This isn't just a one-off, like, oh, it kind of looks like a face today. It's always this. And I don't know what to do with that information. Where are the scientists? Can we call them? Can Hank Green please explain?
Horror facts under a minute. Scaphism was a horrifying ancient execution method that involved trapping a person inside a hollowed-out log and exposing them to insects and stagnant water until death. The Screaming Tunnel in Canada is a haunted tunnel where the ghost of a girl who died in a fire is said to scream in the darkness. The unsettling phenomenon of shadow people involves witnessing dark, shadowy figures that seemingly watch or follow individuals. But their true nature remains unknown. Sleepwalking murders have occurred where individuals commit violent acts, including killing, while sleepwalking, with no memory of the events afterward. There are real-life body farms, research facilities where forensic scientists study human decomposition, making them some of the eeriest places on Earth. More facts will be uploaded on my YouTube channel, so please subscribe. Link in my bio.
This is supposedly the most haunted doll. Welcome to part 2. In part 1, we talk about who Robert is. I left off telling you about how Robert would get himself out of a locked trunk and attic and all that fun stuff, but I want to tell you about where Robert is today. So Eugene, Robert's owner, died in 1974, and he left a doll to the woman who bought his home. She kept him for about 20 years, and then she donated him to Fort East Martello Museum in Florida. And upon doing so, she said that he needed great care as he was possessed, he was haunted. They didn't really believe her, I guess, like, who would, right? But they learned pretty quickly that they should have listened to her. They would experience a lot of paranormal activity at this museum. They would also find Robert outside of the little glass thing he's in, the same way he was getting out of things before he was in a museum. They would hear children's voices when there were no children there and it was after closing. Objects would get knocked over and break. Now, it is very common for visitors to feel something touching their knee when they are visiting Robert at the museum. Cameras tend to glitch. They won't take pictures of him. Orbs, all that fun stuff. And some people say that his from the museum and kind of like make a mess of their lives. This makes a lot of people write letters to him, letters of apology, asking them for their regular lives back, just to, leave them alone. He receives about 1 to 3 letters a day. Some of the letters speak about divorces, car crashes, canceled flights, ending of their careers, and even sudden illness. But at the end of it all, they're all asking Robert to end the curse. Now let me know if there's something that I missed. I'd love to hear it. Would you go visit Robert? Dolls are one of my biggest fears, but they interest me just the same. So I'd love to hear it. We'll see you in my next video. Thank you for being here. Goodbye.
Here are some facts you probably didn't know that one day could save your life. Part 7. If you ever have to eat crickets or similar insects, chew them. Do not swallow them alive. They have spines on their legs which can cling to your throat, blocking your airways, causing you to suffocate to death. If your water ever smells like cinnamon, do not drink it. People often use it to cover up the scent of poison. Everyone hates red eyes in photos, but if your pupils reflect white in a picture, it could be a sign that something is seriously wrong with your eyes, such as cataracts, retina problems, or even eye cancer. If there's ever a shirt or object on the windshield of your car, get in immediately without removing the object. This is a common method that kidnappers use to distract you from getting in your car. If you're ever scuba diving and a giant octopus tries to grab a hold of you, do not try to pry him off. The key to survival is to get him off of one of his anchor points like a rock or a pipe, because he can't pull you down without using the leverage from his anchor.
Let's talk about the haunted game, Baby Blue Blue Baby. I'm gonna play a video for you guys first and then we'll talk about it. Blue baby, baby blue. Definitely some giggling. What's that? Baby blue. What's that, dude? Okay, so what is Baby Blue Blue Baby? This is an urban legend and a haunted game that you play in the bathroom, just like Bloody Mary. You cradle your arms, rock it back and forth, and you say Baby Blue Blue Baby 13 times without messing up. If you don't mess up, an evil baby will spawn in your house or in your arms. If it spawns in your arms, it'll be invisible and you'll feel a heavy weight on you. If it spawns in your house, like the video we just saw, you'll hear giggling and banging. To play this game exactly, you have to go into your bathroom, turn off the lights, and stare into the mirror. You have to rock your arms back and forth like you're cradling a baby 13 times like I mentioned. You might even feel scratching on your arms while you're doing this, but you will know if it works. Feel free to light a candle in the bathroom too. To get rid of the baby, you have to flush the invisible baby down the toilet. If you don't, a woman will scream and appear behind you, and she'll be screaming to give her back her baby. Many think this woman is Bloody Mary. The scary thing is, if you don't do this in a timely manner, your eyes will be scratched out of your head. Now, obviously, in that YouTube video that I played for you guys, it's probably edited. And I don't endorse playing this game if you're scared. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and comment for what you want to see next.
The killer clown trend might be coming back, and it's gonna be a lot worse this time. Back in 2016, killer clowns were spotted everywhere and causing ruckus in the streets. However, in 2021, it might be coming back, and it's already a lot worse. There's already been multiple reports of killer clowns waiting outside of schools. And the worst part about it is the clowns are asking the little children to follow them. And if you look closely, this is actually a clown spotting in Singapore of him waiting outside of a school.
What is going on here? This is one of the creepiest videos I've seen on this app. Wait for it.
So they hid his body under the floorboards. Sometime in the following days, the teacher reported a foul smell, which eventually led to the police investigating in search of the boy. When they got to the bathroom, they lifted the board and found his body. And when one of the officers looked into the shattered mirror, he saw the boy's pale reflection. This is one of the worst serial killer couples in the world. Frederick Walter West and Rosemary Pauline West killed anywhere from 14 to 16 girls, including 2 of their own daughters. After being arrested, officers found 12 bodies on their property, which they were charged for on the 25th of February 1994. Fred took his own life in prison before facing his trial. He was charged for 12 murders, and his wife was charged with 10.
People who made their own supercars. Wang Jiang, the son of a farmer, wanted a Lamborghini Reventon. He didn't have $2 million, so instead built his own. Amazingly, he built a copy of the Lamborghini Reventon for only $9,500. Clearly it's not as good as a Lamborghini, but for only $9,500, it's a good try. This man is named Chen Yangshi. He built his own DIY electric supercar. The car looks amazing and even has scissor doors. Chen built this car all by himself, and it only cost $4,000. This man named Ken Imhoff built his own Lamborghini Countach. It took Ken over 10 years to build this. He did it all by hand in his basement. In total, it cost him $65,000.